Today I'm going to show you my secrets for making a light, crispy mushroom tempura. So stick around. Welcome back to No Recipes. I'm Mark Matsumoto, and I'm here to show you how to elevate your everyday meals. So smash that subscribe button and ring that bell so you don't miss out. Did you know that this method of battering and deep frying vegetables was brought to Japan by Portuguese missionaries almost 500 years ago? Even the name tempura is from a Latin phrase, quattro anni tempora, which is a reference to the Ember Days where Catholics avoid eating meat. These days, tempura is made with a variety of vegetables and seafood. But today I want to show you how to tempura a few kinds of mushrooms. So let's start off by checking out our ingredients. For the mushrooms, I'm going to be using Shiitake, Enoki, and Maitake. They each have a distinct texture and taste that keeps things interesting. I'm also going to be frying up some green beans and basil for color. If you can't find these mushrooms, other varieties like chanterelles, porcinis, and oyster mushrooms will work as well. For the tempura batter, I'm just gonna use cold water and cake flour. These are just two of the secrets to a light, crispy batter. Finally, I'm gonna be serving these with truffle salt. Truffle Shuffle was kind enough to send me some samples of their salt, and it's brimming with umami, which makes it the perfect finishing salt for this. I'll include a link in the description, but if you can't get it, this mushroom tempura is still delicious with plain old table salt. How you prep the mushrooms is gonna depend on the types of mushrooms you're using. I'm gonna start with the Maitake by breaking them up into bite-sized clusters. These ones were grown indoors, so they're clean, but if you buy foraged ones, be sure to clean them with a damp paper towel first. Now I'm gonna use a damp paper towel to clean off any growing medium that's worked its way up onto the mushrooms. Then I'm just gonna pull the big cluster apart into smaller ones like this. Be sure to look out for any lumps of growing medium that might be hiding out between the stems. For the shiitakes, I'm gonna start by using a damp paper towel to wipe any debris off of the caps. Make sure you check under the cap as well. Now I'm gonna trim the tough part of the stem off. I also like to carve a little X into the top of each shiitake because the contrasting colors make it look like a little flower. To do this, just cut a notch into the top of the cap in one direction, and then you want to turn it 90 degrees and carve another one into it like this. For the basil, we just need to pluck some medium-sized leaves from the stems. Just be sure the surface of the leaves is very dry or they're gonna spatter like crazy when you add them to the oil. Basil isn't a traditional ingredient for tempura, but I think herbs go really well with the mushrooms, so you can also use whole twigs of parsley, thyme, or rosemary. Finally, for the green beans, I'm gonna ensure they're nice and dry by wiping them with paper towels. Then I'm gonna line them up and trim the stems off. For any vegetable with a hard, smooth surface like green beans, pumpkin, or carrot, you need to dust them with flour or starch before you batter them. This acts as a primer that helps the batter stick better to the veggies. Once they're coated like this, you're good to go. Before we make the batter, let's get a few inches of oil into a heavy bottomed pan and start heating that up. You want the oil heated up to around 340 degrees Fahrenheit or 170 Celsius. This is important because if the oil is too cold, your tempura is gonna end up greasy, and if it's too hot, the batter's gonna brown before it's cooked. For the batter, I have my ice cold water ready, and I'm gonna add the flour to the water. Then I'm gonna use chopsticks or a whisk to gently mix this together. Cake flour has less gluten than all-purpose, and cold water helps to slow its formation. But if you mix it too aggressively, the long chains of gluten that form will make the batter tough and dense. You also want to leave some small lumps of flour in the batter because these are going to bloom in the oil to make the tempura even lighter. Okay, that's looking good. So I'm just going to line a cooling rack with some paper towels and we're ready to start frying. We want to start by frying the basil while the oil is still clean. I'm just gonna add a few leaves and spread them out with tongs. If you add too many at one time, there's a chance the pot's gonna boil over, so be careful. These should take about a minute to crisp, and you can tell when they're done when they aren't really bubbling anymore. For the green beans, I'm gonna dump them into the batter and submerge each one before adding it to the oil. Now we're gonna fry these until the batter is crisp and the beans are vibrant green. This should take about a minute. Once the batter is no longer sticky, you'll want to flip them over once to make sure they cook through evenly. These are looking good, so let's go ahead and transfer them to the rack. Between each batch of tempura, you need to skim off any bits of batter floating on the oil. Otherwise, they're gonna brown and stick to your next batch, which will give the tempura a mottled appearance. Next, let's fry the shiitake. To show off the pattern on top, I'm only gonna dunk the bottom half of the caps in the batter. Shiitakes contain a surprising amount of water, so I'm gonna fry these for about 2 to 3 minutes so they don't go soggy as soon as you remove them from the oil. I usually flip these over once to cook the tops, and then I'll flip them back over to finish crisping the batter. You may have noticed I haven't filled the pan up with mushrooms. This helps prevent a sudden drop in temperature, which can make the mushrooms absorb oil like a sponge. Okay, these are good, so let's get them out of the pan. Clean the oil. And next, we're gonna fry the enoki. First, I'm gonna dunk the whole cluster in the batter and let the excess batter drip off. When I add the cluster to the oil, I give it a little side-to-side wag, which separates the individual mushrooms while shaking off any excess batter. Let's see that from a different angle. I'm gonna batter the whole cluster, let some of the batter drip off, and then shake it from side to side as I add it to the oil. I'm using my fingers to do this because I've done this a million times. But you should probably do this with tongs, and please be careful not to splash yourself with the hot oil. I usually flip these ones over a few times, and what I'm looking for here is that the clusters are crisp enough to hold their shape. Okay, these are good to go, so let's get them over to the rack. We've got a whole lot of floaties, so don't forget to clean the oil. By the way, these bits of fried batter are called tenkasu in Japanese, and they're used as a topping for udon and soba, and they're also mixed into okonomiyaki and takoyaki, so be sure to hang on to them. Last but not least, we have our maitake, and these are gonna get dipped and shaken just like the enoki. The only difference is that maitake are a little thicker, so I like to fry them for an extra minute or two to make sure they're nice and crisp. Okay, our tempura is done and it's looking amazing. So let's get it plated up. Traditionally, tempura is served on a sheet of paper to soak up any extra oil, but I usually just use a napkin or a paper towel. It took me about 20 minutes to fry all of this up in my tiny 8-inch pan, but as you can see, everything is still nice and crisp. Finally, let's arrange the basil around the plate, and our platter of tempura mushrooms is done. An airy lattice of ultra crispy batter that highlights the ingredients underneath is the hallmark of good tempura, and it's something that anyone can do at home. I know, deep frying can be a little intimidating, but now that you know my secrets, there's nothing complicated about it, and you can use these techniques to fry up almost anything. I've served this with truffle salt today, but tempura is delicious with almost any flavored salt. Or you can use the broth from my agedashi tofu recipe as a dipping sauce. I'll link to the video in the description below. These tempura mushrooms make for a great snack to have outdoors with a glass of something bubbly, so I hope you'll give it a try. If you enjoyed this video, you can let me know you want to see more like it by giving this a big thumbs up and by sharing it with all your friends that love mushrooms. This video took time and money to produce, which is why I want to send a special thank you to all of my patrons who helped to fund this. If you're learning something new from my videos, I hope you'll consider clicking the link up here to join the No Recipes crew and help support our future videos. Well, I'm gonna go snack on this tempura while it's still crisp, but I'll catch you in the next one.